This week, the sky brings a little retrograde to our roar. Yeah, we're all maybe turning from lions to kittens this week as Mars stations retrograde in the sign of Leo. And I'm going to break down what that means for you now and for the next month and how we can work with it to align with our highest and hottest self.
Welcome to Cosmic RX Radio, a podcast that gives you real-life tools of spiritual empowerment and pure hype. I'm your host and intuitive guide, MADI Murphy. I'll be serving up your weekly energy readings, cosmic boss interviews, and astro inspiration. Are you ready to love yourself more, manifest your dream life, and own your magic? Let's jump in.
How the hell are we doing? I'm MADI Murphy, your mystical guide on this wild ride, your cosmic consultant. This is your Cosmic RX Radio Energy Report, and I'm really excited to get into a big episode. This is definitely one of a highly impactful transit to close out the year. And it also brings us into what is officially the double retrograde season, the retrograde rundown of it all, because as we know, Mercury stationed retrograde last week. And Mars station retrograde in Leo is not insignificant. It only happens about every 18 months to 2 years. So I'm going to talk about what it means for you, your energy, your creativity, your love life, your personal development, all of the things, capital T, the things. And of course, we're gonna do what we always do: check in with the moon, check in with ourselves. How the hell are we doing? Like, what's the vibe out there right now? So much going on, as always. And I'm going to talk about that more during If Astrology Isn't Real. But I just wanted to say this week, we have the 2025 astrology webinar coming up. If you're listening to this before the 5th, come have some live fun with us. We're going to be getting to all the astrology for the year, which is a lot. 2025 is like truly wild with a T at the end. There's so much happening. It's paradigm shifting. It's destabilizing. It's new energy. It's going to bring a lot for the collective and the individual. So let's hang out. Other Virgo announcements. Obviously, I'm headed into my mystical maternity leave with my Sag baby. But definitely, if you want to work with me, starting in Aries season, March 2025, check out the links below. We have my one-on-one mentee spots, some roles, some Astro Accelerator goodness. And, if you just want to really up your astrology game, this is a great time of year. As Pluto is now in Aquarius, it's great electional astrology to literally learn more about astrology, to learn more about yourself, to learn more about your role in the world, to make more context of everything. So check out our Astro Academy. We have everything from birth chart basics, like all the audio courses that I did 2 summers ago on your chart. We have Magic of You. And we have just things if you're in your Saturn return or headed into your Saturn return, we have a workshop on that. So if you're just looking for in this retrograde season, it is a time to go inward. And when we go inward, it's great to kind of move some things around, learn more about ourselves, gain more language and tools for who we are and how we're meant to navigate the world. This is the time to do it, y'all. Okay. I'm like, wow, there's so much happening. I'm like thinking about this Mars retrograde. I'm like, pace yourself, Maddie, pace yourself. So let's get into If Astrology Isn't Real. Then we're going to quickly go through the moon and then we're going to get into the Mars RX of it all. All right, let's talk about If Astrology Isn't Real. Okay, so many of you DM me all the time, and I literally love sifting through the stories. So this week, we're just going to keep it short and sweet because we have, a little pop culture, a little world stage energy. A lot of you reached out about the Israel-Lebanon peace agreement that went in place, I think that was November 26th. So literally a week after Pluto went to Aquarius. There's a lot more to unfold with this, but it did feel like a step in the right direction. Again, things are complex. Things have a lot of nuance. That full moon in Taurus really affected the chart of Israel. So I think we're going to be seeing things for the next 6 months that are going to take us on a journey, highs and lows with that. So we're going to take this high, at least just something right now, right? Like, again, there's so much more to do, but a lot of you were like, is this a positive Pluto and Aquarius step? I'm like, yes. And there's more coming, but for now, we're going to take this as a win. And then a lot of you reached out about Drake and Kendrick. If astrology isn't real, Drake is a Scorpio. We covered some of the Kendrick-Drake beef, and we actually put up a blog post about it on cosmicrx.com when it first came out. And Drake's just like a mess. Like, he needs to go away. But I did he had a birthday about a month ago. And so I did his perfection year, and he's in the 3rd house year, which rules communications, which means that, his year is ruled by Mercury. So it's very interesting that it was like the day after Mercury went retrograde to Sag, he decides to like pull this lawsuit. And what's also very interesting is that Jupiter is in Gemini in his 10th house. So those two things opposing, again, if I was an astrologer, would not have advised him to go back on this. I would advise him just to honestly lay low for a while, but I don't know if that's possible for him. But it's just very interesting. If you haven't done your perfection year, go do it. It's really easy. Just calculate it by age. You can find your Time Lord, your planetary ruler for the year. That was kind of the majority of the astrology isn't real. Again, it's a shorter week. Everyone's sort of busy with travel and friends and family. But we got a little the pop culture, a little on the world stage. Let me know in my DMs what you want to hear about next week. All right, my cuties? All right, now who wants to talk about the moon? Me, always me. I'm going to move through this a little bit more quickly today because I do want to have plenty of time to focus on Mars. Sorry, the moon's like, honey, I'm your boss. Where is this Mars dude coming from? But truly, I think she would understand. The day this podcast comes out, December 2nd, we have a Sag moon for the majority of the day until 4 p.m. Eastern time. It's fiery, it's free, we're having fun, right? We're really feeling into this, maybe the holiday spirit, if you will. Maybe we're feeling social, maybe we're feeling optimistic. And I want you to do something that feels like, even though it's a Monday, the moon is saying, have some fun, baby, okay? Then at 4 p.m. moves into Capricorn, and we're like, okay, back down to business. And remember, when there's a Sag moon, it's going to be conjunct the Mercury retrograde of it all. So we're just going to be careful with our words that day, really double, triple checking before we send emails, texts, etc. Then at 4 o'clock, the moon moves into Capricorn, stays there Tuesday the 3rd, Wednesday the 4th, and it stays there until well into the evening of the 4th. So Capricorn moon days, let's ground down. Let's get some shit off the to-do list that we've been procrastinating on. Let's focus on those re-words. Let's take one re-word really seriously, revisit, revise, re-edit, something during that time. It's going to feel good. That Capricorn moon always wants you to take accountability for yourself, wants to empower you through action. And then we just look out for being too serious, being too hard, being too much in that like hustle mentality, or with the Sag sun taking on too much that's like not even realistic, right? So then we go into Aquarius moon on Wednesday, the 4th through the 5th through the 6th. And I love this until really the early mornings of Saturday, the 7th. Aquarius moon, energy of the Sag sun. This is my sister Jenny's placement. And I know a few people with this placement, and it is visionary energy, honey. We are feeling good. We're not feeling sticky. We're not feeling weighed down. We're not feeling emotionally lost in the sauce. Maybe this retrograde has given you a clearer idea of where you want to go, where you're headed, and maybe these days we're taking some kind of sacred action on that. We're planning something, we're putting pen to paper, we're reaching out to our network. These are all great things to do during this Aquarius moon energy. And December 7th, everyone circle your calendars. I love this date. I've been looking at it for a while. I'll get into it more during the planetary planning. But there's this like Aquarian energy this day that feels to me, again, I've been looking at it for almost a year. I'm like, ooh, 12/7 just feels like a new beginning, like some kind of new beginning. I was talking about this to my dad. He goes, oh, Pearl Harbor Day. And he's like, well, that's like a Boston accent. He has like a Queens accent. He's like, oh, Pearl Harbor Day. I'm like, well, I don't know. I guess I could tie into it. But it's because we have a mashup that we've never really seen, we never have seen in our lifetime, that day of Aquarian energy. So we're circling that. We're enjoying this new energy. We're going to look out for being overly detached, or maybe like not being present, being too far in the future. We are still here 10 toes on the ground in the present moment. And then December 7th morning, 4:48 a.m., Pisces comes into the chat and stays there for a Pisces moon weekend. And we're going to enjoy Sag Sun, Pisces moon. It's dreamy. That is creative energy. This is a great time to do something that just makes your heart feel good. This is a great time to picturing like watching comfort movies, planning fun trips, decorating your home, like maybe dropping in, again, taking a workshop, reading a book that expands your horizons. This just feels like yummy and good and like creative and like what gets the heart and the soul in alignment, nourished, deep like self-care on that level, like inner child level, inner visionary level, like all the things. We're just gonna look out for this double mutable energy can make us all over the place, super flaky feeling. So again, grounding down, being really clear with ourselves, our words, our obligations. And that's where I'm going to leave you for today with the moon. Planetary planning. The big headline right now is Mars, the planet of action, the planet of how we tap into our motivation, into our drive, into our willpower, our anger, our ability to stand up for ourselves. As Colin taught me years ago, Mars teaches us how we fuck and how we fight. This is like stationing retrograde. So Mars likes to move forward fast and hard and likes to take us in a direction, likes to give us momentum. So when Mars stations retrograde, and again, it only happens every 18 months to 2 years, we get that pull inward. So what I'm going to do today in honor of this being in the sign of Leo, I'm going to give you 8 cosmic RXs, 8 things to think about, 8 themes, 8 ideas, 8 things just to let's hone in on what does this mean, especially for this next month. We're in a very long journey with Mars in Cancer and Leo. I mentioned that before. I'll give you the dates in a second. But especially for this next month, December 6th to January 6th, we're going to have Mars, essentially going quote unquote backwards through Leo. And what does this mean for us? What are we really here to do with this? And specifically in the sign of Leo. So in general, just some quick high-level reviews for general Mars retrograde, whatever sign it's in. I've talked about this a lot, but I'm just going to get into it. We're going to really resist. We're not going to try and start big fights or arguments. We're not going to try and start any big new projects, especially with Mars and Mercury retrograde. We're not going to try and, if you're looking to get a divorce or something right now, this might not be the best time to initiate it. We are not overexerting ourselves. We're not going hard. I know it's the holiday season. I know it's the end of the year, but this is really an inward time. We're not trying to try anything new physically that requires extreme levels of prowess or physical exertion if we might hurt ourselves. And we're definitely not trying to speed up things. We're not trying to go into a legal battle. We're just really not trying to push ourselves too hard here. The things that we are doing, we're reassessing our energy. We're reassessing our passion projects. We're looking at maybe how we fight or how we address conflict. I'll get into all this more in a minute. Maybe we're figuring out what we really want in life, what we really desire. We're maybe looking at more opportunity to seek compromise, resolution, meeting people halfway where they're at. And so with this, and we're probably learning a lot about our own energy, to kind of segue into the Mars retrograde of it all of this is going to be really, really true, especially the passion project part, especially discovering what you really want, you really desire, right? Leo is a fire sign. Leo is the sign of the I am. So that's going to be a woven thread through all of the 8 cosmic RXs right now. So we have plenty of time, just as a reminder for the Mars and Leo dates of it all. Mars entered Leo on November 3rd. So whatever themes came up from November 3rd to December 6th, you might already be feeling the Mars pushing you forward in the Leo part of your chart, in the Leo part of your psyche. Then it stations retrograde on December 6th, like I said, until January 6th. On the collective level, I'm like, oh, good Lord, this is very interesting because Mars retrograde in Leo can be like the downfall of like a king or a leader. We know Mars in Cancer. Retrograde is like the feminine, the anger of the feminine, defending the feminine, children, reproductive rights. The United States is a Cancer. I'm like, wow, both Kamala and Trump are both Mars and Leo. And I'm recording this ahead of time as I always do. So I'm just like, I mean, obviously it's not anywhere near January 6th, but I'm like keeping an eye on that date. I'm like, what the heck? What the heck is happening around that time in the US? But I don't want to digress too far. So then Mars will turn direct on February 23rd. So we have Mars retrograde from December 6th to February 23rd. And it'll remain in Cancer until April 18th, 2025. And then from April 18th to June 17th, Mars will again be in Leo. So we see like this long journey we're in, and whatever comes up right now, maybe like you had something come up November 3rd to December 6th and didn't totally take off, but it sparks something in your heart. It's happening to your desire. It's happening to any of the things I was about to mention. Then we might go retrograde to reassess, rework, rethink, just kind of retool the inner gas tank, the fuel. And then really keeping in mind that this might not go full throttle into the completion of the theme until maybe April 18th to June 17th. So are we feeling good with that? Like pause if you need to, rewind, write down these dates. They're very important. And then thinking about the Mars and Leo of it all, it's going to retrograde around the 6th degree. And I love this numerology because it's literally like, it's kind of crazy. I just like love paying attention to this shit because I'm like a numerology nerd. So 12/6, Mars is stationary retrograde at 6 degrees of Leo at 6:33 p.m. Eastern time. So that's like a lot of sixes in there, not 12, a lot of just like 6/12 energy. So I'm like, okay, so we just can look at where we have 6 degrees of Leo in our chart, knowing this is going to be a very activating point for this retrograde because it's going to be like when we look at those degrees. So let's say within like that 0 to, I don't know, like let's call it 16 degrees of Leo. It's going to be really important. That 6 degrees of Leo is going to be probably like the most acute part of the Mars retrograde process or theme for you. And those dates, when a planet like Mars, it's going fast. Imagine just like, an Olympic runner sprinting and then just dead stop. Right? Or a car zooming down the highway, dead stop. We really feel the impact of that. And the days that the Mars, stations retrograde, the days that happens, we will feel a real significant shift in momentum, in life direction, especially if you have planets in the first 5 or 6 degrees of a fixed sign, right? So that'd be Leo, Aquarius, Scorpio, Taurus. And we're going to feel it correlating to the theme of the house that it's in. Also, you can check out on the blog, our amazing magical Maggie did a great rundown of Mars retrograde and then with a horoscope for each sign. So you can understand where the themes are affecting you on cosmicrx.com. That's free. That's a significant date. There's just some dates within this, or one in particular I had just mentioned, the 7th, right? This is like right after Mars stations retrograde. We go into this December 7th date that I've been eyeing. And this is going to inform, again, one of the bigger themes of Mars retrograde that I'll get into in a minute. But on this day, Venus moves from Capricorn into Aquarius. And then as Venus moves into 0 degrees of Aquarius, it links up with Pluto. And it also links up with the goddess asteroid Ceres. This has not happened since 1823 when all these planets met up in one sign of 0 degrees, and that was in Aries. This is a coming together of some sort of, Venus is the feminine. Ceres is sort of like another aspect of the feminine, the provision of it all, like the almost like motherly feminine. And Pluto is like kind of the dark feminine in this situation. They're all linking up. Like, there's something happening there, and we're going to get into that in a minute. But I'm just encouraging us all. It's a big new beginning in terms of love. I also think in terms of the collective moment we're in, the revolution, the resistance, whatever we want to call it. this is hugely activating. And I just say that so we all are aware, especially if you have like a lot of Aquarius in your chart, that December 7th date feels really important. Also, like Neptune stations direct in Pisces. So we're going through a lot of shifts, okay? So let's get into the themes, the RXs for this Mars retrograde in Leo. Okay, the first one I'm going to start off with is just literally some magic practical advice before I get into the more spiritual, esoteric invitations. I'm going to need y'all, everyone listening, to just not get elective surgery or cosmetic procedures during this time. So what were those dates again that I said during, right? At the very least, definitely not from December 6th to January 6th. But if you can put it off, I would say until end of February, early March. Now, of course, if something happens, it's an emergency, that's different. This is elective. This is cosmetic. These are things that we can control and change. Mars rules sharp objects, knives, needles, scalpels. Things can just go kooky during Mars retrograde. And of course, with Leo, it's going to affect our physical appearance, our beauty, our confidence. So Mars retrograde is more time to do the inner work and talk about things like anger management and our drive and ourselves. It's not really a time to go under the knife. I just have to start with that because it's like not as fun and spiritual for me to talk about, but it is really important. And I have seen things go awry. So number one, we're not doing that, right? We're not making big changes to our appearance. We're not going under the knife. We're not doing elective surgery or cosmetic procedures. Now we go into the heart of it, pun intended, with Leo. And this is it. This is the heart of what we're talking about. Is one of the biggest things we're going to do is we're going to revise and revisit what really feels authentic, what feels integral to who you are, what feels like your non-negotiables in terms of how you want to express yourself and how you want to be in this world. There is a lot of this Leo Aquarius energy at play. And we're seeing like the me and the we balancing out a lot. And we have to decide, who are we in this revolution, right? We are also in the last days of North Node in Aries, which we've been in since January 2023. That's been really having us re-examine ourselves, our relationships, making sure that we are who we want to fucking be and shedding away anything that's inauthentic. This Mars in Leo retrograde is going to do that to the max, okay? And part of that is figuring out, who you are, but is there anything around you that's just not in alignment with that? The retrograde might have it shed away. This is also a time to figure out like what you want, what you desire. This is a great time to like kind of build the vision board of your ideal you. Who is she? Who is he? Like, who are they? What do they do in the morning when they wake up? What kind of clothes do they wear? What kind of friends do they keep? What self-care habits do they have? What work do they do? What kind of relationships are they in? Almost look at, if you've ever done like a Wheel of Life practice, like look at a Wheel of Life. You can Google it. Maybe you create an ideal vision board for all of that and then just see like what's not in alignment. That's where the Leo also might come in of a little bit of like, when it comes to your life, it's a monarchy, not a democracy. Like you can make those decisions unilaterally of like, this ain't working anymore. And I can make some changes. And again, we might not be acting on them big time now, but we can kind of maybe see where some shifts are being asked to be made, see where some decisions are going to be asked to be made of you, changes made, and just like kind of getting the vision, getting the heart lit up. So what this also, second cosmic RX, kind of tapping into that as a follow-up is this Mars retrograde in Leo is going to have you, as our third cosmic RX, looking it's all about confidence, baby. Like that, like TikTok song. This is going to have you looking at your concept of self-confidence from every angle. It's going to have you looking at, are there areas in life that you're holding yourself back because you're waiting for confidence or external validation from other people? Are you holding yourself back because of imposter syndrome? Are you having too much confidence? It's a bravado that doesn't actually have any real meat behind it? Are we looking, again, with this Libra South node, a lot of people I've been talking to have left relationships during this time and realized that relationships, it's like this mirror, it's like this portal we're in, and we can really learn or unlearn or have a lot either expanded or deflated around our confidence through the people that we surround ourselves with. So like, is this a time to, again, go back to yourself? And this is a time to like really like know that it is important to be seen and recognized by others. I'm not saying that, but this is a time to be like, where have I been maybe plugging too much of my needs for external validation or confidence into other people? And how can I be my own hype woman, my own cheerleader? How can I give myself confidence and also the things that really matter? My heart, my soul, my character, my personality, the things that I'm really proud of, and less about like the outward achievements or blah, 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 like, all that stuff that we get caught up in, how things look on social media. So we're just thinking about confidence is going to, something that confidence is going to come up, whether it's an opportunity that's going to ask you to step into a bigger level of confidence in yourself and say yes to it, or you might get a ding or a bruise to your confidence. And again, like, how do you hype yourself up with that? How do you sit with that? How do you transmute that? So that is our third cosmic RX. As we go into our fourth cosmic RX, it ties into all these flow together. I want to think about like, we are going on an internal road trip, an internal makeover. We are doing internal change. Okay. This is like the glow up makeover montage in a 90s movie, but on the inside. We are going on an adventure on the inside, right? Mars takes all that outward energy that wants to go, that wants to run, that wants to take things to the next gear, and it takes it inward now. Again, with like the not seeking validation from the outside, kind of similarly, we're being asked to go inward. We're being asked to trust ourselves. We're being asked to take a big trust fall into the next level of our lives that starts inward, maybe retooling some things, maybe realizing where we are ready to give up the good for the great. Maybe we are realizing that like, maybe the heart has been holding on to some things. Maybe we need to just quiet down, say no to some obligations so we can really tend to ourselves, take good care of ourselves, maybe get some help, have some outside, facilitation with healing or therapy or something where we just need to like for me, I just need a lot of space. When I went through big life changes, I need like space to ground down and just figure out what the fuck I'm like thinking and feeling and doing. And so I want you to think about that internal change. Like it's taken that Mars and Leo energy, which anyone here who's in natal Mars and Leo, you got a lot of energy, you got a lot of passion, you got a lot of drive. Now we're turning it inward, right? We're turning it into our heart. And so with that, it may come with, again, like I said, turning down some things, having to say no to some things, having to have some more quiet time. And again, I know it's not the easiest time of year to do that. So take it where you can, or maybe that like blessed week between Christmas and New Year's where the world's all like, we're in like the lost space and time. Maybe really like dedicating that to like internal glow up, a retreat just for you and your heart. I want you to think about that, okay? Because 2025 is going to bring you a lot of opportunity for change. And I want you to know all these things. Who are you? Having the confidence to do it. What are the internal changes that need to be made? Where are you going to be asked to give up some things to, have the freedom to go on a new path? Like these are things that we just want to really feel aligned with, like everything, our worthiness, our ability to take action, our vision, right? We're going through all of this at once. Okay, so the other cosmic RX we're talking about is, like I said before, we're revisiting or returning to old passions you might have lost touch with. So I saw this great reel, and sometimes reels really annoy me, but I like this one. It was a creator, and she was just talking about like ways to combat, like, or work with the sad, seasonal affective disorder months, like. And she had this great thing of like, what are the different passions and hobbies? Like you need one that helps turn your brain off, one that helps you feel creative, one that helps you tap into mindfulness. And I'll see if I can find it and I'll post it on my stories. But basically, is like, can we return to something that helps you tend to your inner fire? Again, going inward, tending to the inner fire. What's something that we could help you stoke a sense of passion with? And it could be painting, coloring. She had a cozy chair. She would do like gaming, reading books. This doesn't have to be like some elaborate, huge, like again, it doesn't have to be do with our purpose or our work. We want to have passions and hobbies that are not around making money. Listening to music really mindfully with headphones on. Like I love any kind of like crafting thing. I get to buy like new fun markers and glittery markers. And I know going through old photos, putting them through albums. It's like a fun like winter task I'm excited to tend to, but also reading it for pleasure and like making it cozy, this is maybe we're going to have Mars and Cancer here with it, but Mars will be in Cancer in January and February. So what makes you feel good? What lights you up? And how can you return to that and make space for it? I mean, that's like one of the most important, Cosmic RX is one of the most important invitations and assignments during this time. And it's going to fuel everything else that I'm talking about here. Okay. Like that passion is, what keeps you going, what keeps the ability to stay buoyant when when we're going through big life changes or when we're learning about what's authentic to us. And again, especially as up here in the Northern Hemisphere, we're going through winter. We want to like cultivate our own like inner warmth and sunshine and passion and joy as the days are shorter and everything's colder. So things to think about. And then going into, what am I on, the 5th Cosmic RX? We're going to be reassessing our relationship to anger and conflict. Like I said in the beginning, this is not the time to pick big fights or let anger or frustration get the better of you. This is not the time to launch an attack. It's not, especially not online. This is not the time to like call for a divorce or a big breakup. But, of course, like revisiting situations that feel unsettled and you want to seek out closure, that is fine. If you want to find ways, if you're realizing you're holding on to anger, resentment, frustration, pain, this is a great time to go to a somatic therapist, a counselor, do some ecstatic dancing, really figuring out like your relationship to anger and conflict. What I love about, Mars during this time is Mars always wants to go forward, wants to be kind of hot-headed, impulsive. But that energy gets kind of muted during a Mars retrograde. So it's actually something I don't hear talked about enough, is that it's easier to access these healthier ways of understanding our frustration, our anger. It's like, oh, okay, everything's just, it's like Mars took an edible and we're just like, okay, oh, I see now. I see how that happened, how we got here. And we might have a more refined or detached or mature understanding of where that anger came from, what we can do with it, what's underneath it, and how we can resolve it and ultimately release it. Okay. And it might come out of like, we might snap or have that like, like flare or that little like trigger of a wound. But I promise you, if you're curious and you're open, there may be a really beautiful chance to reassess our relationship to that anger, conflict, and maybe revisit something that has felt unsettled within us. And then our 6th Cosmic RX is I want you to think about like kind of along those same lines. We're really moving from disempowerment to empowerment in some way, energetically and physically, by revising or rethinking everything from in the emotional state, like the way we fight, the way we communicate, the way we talk, the way we look at a situation, the way we, I want you to understand things like the triangle of disempowerment. Are you taking on the victim role? Have we been taking on the victim role collectively, even for a while? Mars retrograde and Mars retrograde in Leo is a great time to tap back into our inner warrior, to feel really clear from that. And that might also come up physically. There can be, under Mars retrograde, new ways to understand how to move our body, how to fuel our body, how to nourish our body, how to take care of our body in a way that helps us feel stronger in our physical vessel so that we feel more empowered mentally and spiritually and emotionally. So when you think about Mars retrograde, is actually a really great chance to move from feeling disempowered to empowered. And I think for a lot of us, no one got out of like the past year without maybe taking a few hits on the chin. And it's easy to get in that place of wallowing or feeling like, oh my God, the world sucks. Everything's awful. Things are so hard. And it's fine to feel all that. But Mars retrograde is a great chance to re-alchemize all of that. Okay. And then the seventh cosmic RX and theme I want you to think about is like, this is it's like a pulling back, like a bow and arrow before we shoot forward into some sort of new beginning where I want you to think about removing your mask, putting on your crown. Okay. So removing your mask, putting it on your crown. This is just, like I said, there's this beautiful December 7th, huge new beginning energy. We're moving into a time of Pluto and Aquarius. And so having this whole Leo opposite this, it's like, it kind of ties into everything, but I want you to really get the visual of like taking off the mask, shedding anything that you've been cloaking yourself in that's hiding yourself. Then how do we put on that crown? And why I'm saying this as its own separate RX is because I want you to visualize that. I want you to look around you, and I want you to like kind of relax and surrender and trust the flow of the universe that this is just happening. And the best thing you could do right now is to not force it. I want you to rest. I want you to sleep. I want you to be inward, be reflective. I want you to pamper yourself. And I want you to just think about like, okay, like this is really maybe a time to ceremoniously honor the things that I'm releasing. And this is a time to just be in the place of receptivity and expanding your container for what's coming. But as we release that mask, shed that mask and step into and let ourselves be crowned, I want you to just like meditate on that. Like meditate on that, this beautiful cosmic initiation that's happening. And this might be very much so, especially in the sign of Leo, around being seen, around healing visibility wounds. This might be around bringing more positivity and love and the ability to give and receive love in relationships in an authentic way. This might be about putting your talents and goddess-given gifts and creative energy to good use. This may be a time to just getting ready to really living life really heart open, heart centered as we move through, and especially into 2025 and beyond. But I really want you to think about that, and pay attention to that. Even asking yourself a barometer, a question is this the feeling or this behavior or this belief or this decision I'm about to make? Is this adding to my mask I'm wearing? Or is this helping me step into my crown? Is this another jewel in my crown? Is this something that it is leaning towards that direction? And then the last cosmic RX, something I want you to think about, is really trusting the stronger the me is, the stronger the we can be, and looking at that balance of the me versus we and thinking about who am I here, what am I fighting for, and how does this stronger version of me help fuel a cause that's really important to me, a community that I'm a part of or that's near and dear to my heart, or how does this just help me show up for the long haul, right? For this mystical marathon we're going through in terms of change and revolution energy. And again, December 7th, Venus, Sirius, Pluto, 0 degrees of Aquarius, this reset, this new beginning, this whole Mars retrograde opposite Pluto. We actually had a Mars retrograde opposite Pluto in 2008 when we moved into Pluto in Capricorn. And so it does kind of ask you and get ready for okay, we're going through this next super important generation defining moment. Who are you going to be during that? And with Mars and Leo, it's you're meant to be some sort of luminescent figure that is really understanding what this new energy of leadership is about. We need new art more than ever. We need people who are in their hearts more than ever. We see where our society goes when we get far out of heart center. And with Pluto and Aquarius, we need to remember that, right? Remember our humanness. And we also need to have a good relationship with pride and ego and the shadow energy that can come with Leo, because we've seen the downfall of that. Also, Mars retrograde in Leo will come for some more celebrities, specifically, so random, Ashton Kutcher, seeing some weird stuff there in the chart. I digress. But where like Pluto Aquarius is like the demolition of the king, the queen, right? Like it's power to the people. And it's like, but who are the people? Once the power comes back to us, what are we going to do with it? Are we going to be good stewards of it? Are we going to be in the readiness, the confidence to be visible with it? Are we going to have the direction and vision to know where we want to go? Are we going to have, the artistic and creative expression to make it beautiful? Are we going to have the strength and the stamina within our bodies to be in it for the long haul? Like, do we kind of see how the Leo Aquarius is all playing out together? So, just some things to think about. Am I acting, some just questions to muse on during this time. Am I acting out of a space of fear or love, right? Am I doing something out of the space of wearing the mask or stepping into my crown? How can I move more authentically towards my goals? Where am I, not doing what my heart desires or shifting myself in order to receive false recognition, praise? This is like a lot of kind of like good girl energy we talk about a lot here. But like, is there a situation where you are doing something or not doing something because you want to receive validation from a certain group or certain person? And then like, am I walking in integrity in my life? Am I walking with my heart fully open? Am I saying things with my full chest? And really asking yourself, like, is there anywhere where I'm dimming my light? Is there anywhere I'm dimming my light? That Mars in Leo really wants to shine bright, wants to be seen, wants to be in the place of joy and passion. And again, not from this ego perspective, but from like when you're shining so bright, it's like you invite people into that fire to warm themselves up. You invite people into the spotlight so they can feel safe there too. So it's a lot happening, but you've got this. And just taking really good care of your heart. Mars and Leo, it's all about. And as someone who does this work professionally, talks about the heart and spirit all day, even I have had moments where someone's like, take good care of your heart. And I'm like, what the F does that mean? But the cool thing is, once you ask and then you listen and slow down, retrograde, your heart will tell you. Your heart will tell you exactly what it needs, exactly what it's ready to release, and exactly like the medicine it needs from you. So that's where I'm going to leave you. I'm sending you all so much love. I'm sending you a big, may this retrograde season. Remember, we don't fear the retrograde. It can really be a chance to, again, like redrop in, revisit, and like realign ourselves with our most authentic, aligned, abundant path. So with that, I'm sending you big ass blessings for those big fat juicy checks and hot fulfilling toe curling sex. Until next time. Mwah. Do you love getting your Cosmic RX for the week here and want more? Make sure to sign up for our premium subscription so you can get exclusive access to bonus podcast episodes, all of my astrology info for the month ahead, and live new and full moon calls to help you manifest your dream life with an intentional international community of other cosmic baddies. Sign up through our link in show notes.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you want to know more about Cosmic RX, head on over to thecosmicrx.com. And if you really love this show, I'd love it if you left a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts. I super love hearing from you and reading your reviews. All right, you cosmic baddie, tune in next week. And until then, remember, love yourself fully, work your magic, and take no shit.